Amílcar Henríquez Espinosa, a name carried the pride of Panama's football dreams. So, wherever you stand, which I respect you wherever you do, but I'd like to wish you, if you stand for this, a happy Columbus Day. I would also like to wish you a happy Indigenous People Day because unity is power. Born on August 2nd, 1983, he rose from the streets of Colón, Panama, to become a national hero. With 85 international caps, Henriquez represented Panama in 3 CONCACAF Gold Cups and across World Cup qualifiers. But on April 15, 2017, his story took a tragic turn. That evening, outside his home in Colón, the athlete who once gave everything for his country lost his life in a hail of bullets. It was a drive-by shooting, fast, chaotic, and devastating. Henriquez was struck multiple times. 2 others were caught in the attack, 30-year-old Delano Wilson and Josamir Gomez. Emergency responders rushed them all to the Policlínica Laurencio Ocaña in Sabanitas. That is a clinic mainly used for victims of shootings. Henriquez died shortly after arriving there. Delano Wilson would also succumb to his injuries. Only Josamir Gomez survived, hospitalized for several days before being released once stable. The killing of Amílcar Henríquez sent shockwaves to Panama. This wasn't just another violent night in Colón. This was the loss of a national symbol. Within 24 hours, police operations swept across the province. 7 people were arrested in total, all in connection with that deadly shooting on April 15th. The operations happened in 2 phases. First, the raids. Police raided several homes in Colón, arresting 3 suspects. 28-year-old Amadelis Ariano, 25-year-old Dorita Hernandez, and 23-year-old Angeline Jimenez. Then came the police chase. Officers spotted a stolen red Nissan Versa, the same car described by witnesses. After a high-speed pursuit through the Sagrada Resurrección area, the suspects were cornered. Inside this stolen car were 4 young men. 19-year-old Bill Ramos, 17-year-old Alex Armijo, 16-year-old Gabriel de los Santos, and 15-year-old Benjamin Moreno. When the chase ended, police recovered a firearm believed to have been used in the attack, and the Versa riddled with bullet impacts. It was taken in for evidence. All 7 suspects spent their first night at the Colón police station, held in separate cells as prosecutors began building their case. The next day, the defendants were brought to the Colón courthouse, known as the Órgano Judicial, the judicial organ. This was for their first appearances. The first hearing belonged to the 3 youngest suspects. It was presided over by adolescence guarantees judge Oderey Evans. Each pleaded guilty, cooperated with authorities, and were sentenced to 1 year in prison to be served at the Basilio Lacas Custody Center in Las Merceditas in Colón town. Later that afternoon, the remaining 4 faced guarantees judge Eric Belgrave, or Eric Belgrave as they know him in Latin America. The guarantees judge ruled that Bill Ramos, the 19-year-old alleged shooter, would remain in pretrial detention at the Monte Esperanza jail in Colón City. The other 3, Ariano, Hernandez, and Jimenez, were ordered to be detained for 6 months at the police barracks in Buena Vista, pending investigation. A year later, the 3 younger ones completed their sentences and were released. Their cooperation invaluable to prosecutors. Meanwhile, the other defendants returned to court before reporting Judge Luz Maria Polo. Judge Polo determined that based on the evidence available, Only attempted murder charges could proceed against the four still detained. The primary focus of the prosecution had narrowed to one person, Bill Ramos. In 2019, the long-awaited trial began. The judicial panel consisted of Chief Judge Yidia Clausel, reporting judge Luz Maria Polo, and third judge Manuel Parra. Prosecutors Reynaldo Ceballos and Jose Leiva, both appointed by Director Gladys Moran, led the state's case. The province of Colón. Two court-appointed attorneys, Yanef Martinez and Maria Espada, represented the 7 defendants. The trial included both determination of guilt and sentencing phase. On May 3, 2019, the verdict was read. Bill Ramos, guilty on all charges, including 2 counts of murder, 1 of attempted murder, racketeering, and a weapons offense. The remaining 3 were acquitted and walked free. 2 weeks later, on March 15th, Ramos was sentenced to 25 years in prison. He was transferred to the La Jolla Penitentiary, where he remains to this day, set for release in 2042. Ramos appealed his sentence, but the Colón Justice Tribunal and the Appellate Division of the Supreme Court of Justice upheld the ruling, affirming his guilt and the original 25-year term. The tribunal also affirmed the decision to acquit the 3 other suspects. Therefore, that verdict was too final. The case remains a painful chapter for Panama, one that revealed the intersection of crime, youth violence, and the vulnerability of public figures. As for Amílcar Henríquez, his farewell drew thousands. His famous picture with Lionel Messi, the best player in the world, still echoing. Funeral services for the 2 victims took place at the Funeraria Virgen de Fátima in Colón. On April 18th, a private visitation was held for Henríquez, followed by a celebration of life outside his home the next day, under a tent surrounded by fans and family. Later that afternoon, a public ceremony honored him at the Armando Stadium in Colón. He was buried at Remembrance Park Cemetery in Sabanitas. Delano Wilson, the other deceased victim, was laid to rest at the Mount Hope Cemetery, also in Colón. 2 men, 2 lives cut short, 1 community forever changed. From the field to the streets, Amílcar Henríquez embodied the spirit of Panamanian soccer, fierce, hopeful, and full of heart. Though his life ended violently, his legacy continues in the game he loved and the nation that still remembers him. This is Strawberry Ink. I'm your host, Santiago, and thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your day. Keep celebrating the holidays happily. Goodbye.